Good day and welcome to our CEO video series where we'll be discussing sectoral determinations in South Africa. In today's video we're at a private household where we'll be discussing sectoral determination 7 being the domestic worker sector.
This sector includes domestic workers who are employed by employment services or those employed by independent contractors.
The definition of a domestic worker encompasses those who are working in private households. This includes gardeners, people employed as drivers, people employed to take care of children, the elderly, disabled, or the frail.
It is important to note that this sectoral determination does not apply to all domestic workers and excludes those who are employed on farms or who are covered by other sectoral determinations such as contract leaving.
There is a minimum wage that applies to this sector. The minimum wage varies depending on which municipal area the domestic worker is employed in and whether or not they work more than or less than 27 hours per week. Employers must pay the domestic workers 1.5 times the wage for any overtime worked and 2 times the wage for any Sundays or public holidays worked.
Domestic workers are permitted to work a maximum of 45 ordinary hours per week. Ordinary hours exclude overtime, Sunday, and public holidays.
When it comes to loans and advances, an employer may not make a deduction of more than 10% of a domestic worker's wage. This same 10% limit also applies to accommodation being provided by an employer to a domestic worker. For a full overview of the sectoral determination and what is not permissible in terms of deductions, please see the link below.
An employer must pay and register for the UIF contribution of 1% of a domestic worker's wage every month. An exemption to this is when a domestic worker does not work more than 24 hours in a particular month.
There are 4 different types of leave that a domestic worker is entitled to. Annual leave, which is 3 weeks per year. Family responsibility leave, which is 5 days per year. Sick leave, which works on a 36-month cycle and depends on the number of days that you've worked in a 6-week period. And maternity leave, which is 4 consecutive months of unpaid leave.
The contract of employment may be terminated by either party with written notice. In the case of an illiterate domestic worker, verbal notice is sufficient. Domestic workers having worked less than 6 months require 1 week's notice. Domestic workers having worked more than 6 months require 4 weeks' notice. That's all we have time for today.
Please feel free to share and like this video and stay tuned for next week's video. Thanks for watching.